The main feature of our Famine exhibition is the cottage, the one-room cottage, and that's in the centre of it, and it's a reproduction of what one of these cottages actually looked like, and the size of them and the nature of them, both externally and internally. So we're looking at a construction that has mud walls, which came from the immediate vicinity, and straw with a few timbers that was also gathered up in the general vicinity. And the cost of all these materials was pretty well zero. And these structures were to be seen in rural Ireland right up to the present time. And I accidentally came on the example here that we've reproduced as I was passing by one day on my way down into County Limerick, where my father came from, and where he often talked about such houses. And it was an even bigger surprise to look up at the roof of the house and see that there wasn't even a proper chimney in it, that the straw had been brought up with a little timber framing within it to form the chimney. And no one would think nowadays of having a house with a straw chimney on it, because there was a high risk that it would go on fire. So that is the basics of it. And of course, if people managed to get a little bit of money, they could whitewash the outside of the house. And that whitewashing would be a preservative and would stop the rain from washing away the mud wall, because the building would collapse if the walls were getting too wet. A visitor to the cabin should note how few the furnishings are in that cabin, and they have to remember, of course, the poverty levels of these people, and they had just the most basic of objects there. The most important one, I suppose, was the big kettle, because hot water was all important for life. The next would be a couple of pots made in cast iron. Then there was going to be turf, and that was usually in some kind of basket, because turf was the firing material of all the poorer people right across the country, not just in these cabins. After that, then, there was a very small number of hand tools and a couple of homemade seats made from straw, so that again there was no such thing as going to the local shop to purchase anything. Everything that was in the cottage was made by the local blacksmith or the local thatcher or the local carpenter, if there was even such a thing as a local carpenter, because we must remember that the timbers on the roof of the building were literally from branches of a tree nearby. There was no fancy carpentry to be seen at all. And the very opening that was a window was literally just an opening which would be blocked at night time by something like, say, a sheep's wool, that a window with glass in it was not to be seen.